The unexpected challenge. It was a time of peace on Earth. The nations of the world had set aside their differences and worked together to build a future. Cities were growing, technology was advancing, and humanity was beginning to thrive like never before. But all of that was about to change. One day, a strange message appeared across every screen on Earth. It was not a message from any government or nation. It was a message from the stars. The message came from the Galactic Empire, a powerful force that had conquered countless planets across the galaxy. The Empire was known for its vast fleets, advanced technology, and merciless rule. And now, they were turning their attention to Earth. The message was simple. We, the Galactic Empire, challenge humanity. Prove your worth. If you fail, your planet will be destroyed. If you succeed, you will join us in the galaxy's dominion. Choose wisely. At first, no one believed it. The people thought it was a hoax, some sort of elaborate prank or a malfunction in the communication systems. But when the ships appeared in the sky, massive, dark, and filled with an ominous presence, the truth became undeniable. The Empire had come to Earth. The world leaders gathered in secret, debating how to respond. Some wanted to fight back immediately, unsure of what these invaders were capable of. Others believed the Empire would crush humanity without a second thought, and that fighting would only lead to destruction. The fear was palpable. This was no ordinary enemy. The Empire had destroyed entire civilizations. Could humanity stand a chance? In every corner of the world, ordinary people sat in front of their screens, watching in disbelief as the Empire's ships hovered above major cities. The challenge was clear: defeat the Empire or face annihilation. Most felt a cold wave of fear rush through them. Could humans really fight back against such a powerful force? But not everyone felt fear. In the quiet corners of Earth, there were those who believed that humanity had the strength to survive, maybe even to win. These people weren't soldiers. They weren't warriors. They were regular citizens, scientists, engineers, and dreamers. They didn't have the advanced technology of the Empire, but they had something far more valuable: creativity, resilience, and unity. Dr. Sarah Owens, a brilliant scientist in a small research facility, was one of the first to speak out. She knew that humanity had faced challenges before and always found a way to survive. Sarah believed that the key to defeating the Empire lay not in military power, but in ingenuity. She gathered a group of like-minded individuals, including engineers and tech experts, to begin working on a plan. They knew they had little time, but they were determined to find a solution. Across the world, other groups began to do the same. In hidden labs, secret bunkers, and even in the basements of everyday homes, people began working together. They studied the Empire's technology, the ships, the weapons, everything. They analyzed the few recordings and data they could gather, learning as much as they could. It wasn't much, but it was a start. The Empire's message echoed in the minds of all those who heard it. Humanity was being challenged. The fate of Earth was at stake, and no one could ignore the gravity of the situation. But what the Empire didn't realize was that humanity was different from the civilizations they had conquered before. Humans were survivors. They didn't just accept their fate. They fought. And this time, they would fight to the end. Sarah and her team weren't the only ones with ideas. All over the world, people began coming up with plans. Some suggested creating advanced weapons, while others focused on creating a defense system. Some wanted to build alliances with other alien species, and others believed that finding the weaknesses in the Empire's technology was the key. The first few days after the Empire's challenge were filled with chaos. Governments struggled to coordinate a global response. Fear and panic spread quickly. But among the fear, there was also a growing sense of determination. The people of Earth began to unite in a way they never had before. It wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about proving that humanity, for all its flaws and imperfections, had something worth saving. As the world came together to prepare for the fight of their lives, Sarah's team made a breakthrough. They discovered a way to hack into the Empire's communication systems. It was a small victory, but it gave humanity hope. If they could take control of the Empire's systems, they could level the playing field. The challenge was far from over, but it was a beginning. But while humans were busy preparing, the Empire was watching. They had underestimated Earth. They had believed that the people of this small, insignificant planet would surrender without a fight. Now, they were about to learn that humanity was not so easily defeated. Earth would fight back, and the Galactic Empire would soon realize that they had made a grave mistake in underestimating the strength and spirit of humankind, the hidden strength of humanity. As days turned into weeks, the global reaction to the Galactic Empire's challenge evolved. The initial fear and chaos began to settle, replaced by a strange new sense of unity. Humanity, for the first time in history, was facing a common enemy, an enemy far greater than any it had ever encountered. But instead of breaking under the pressure, the people of Earth began to adapt, showing a resilience the Empire had not anticipated. Dr. Sarah Owens and her team of engineers worked around the clock, fueled by the knowledge that their actions could mean the difference between survival and extinction. They weren't alone. Across the globe, people from every walk of life, scientists, military strategists, inventors, and ordinary citizens, came together. They realized that they didn't need to match the Empire's power weapon for weapon. They needed to outsmart them. Sarah's team began focusing on what they knew best: technology. They took apart every scrap of alien technology they could get their hands on, analyzing each component for weaknesses. It wasn't easy and progress was slow, but every discovery they made brought them closer to finding a way to defend Earth. They designed new energy shields that could deflect the Empire's energy-based weapons, and weapons that could disrupt the Empire's communication systems, giving humanity a fighting chance. At the same time, in cities around the world, ordinary people were using their unique skills to create an underground network of resistance. Some people crafted homemade drones to scout enemy positions, while others built secret bunkers filled with supplies and weapons. Every day, humanity learned more about the Empire's weaknesses, and every day, the people of Earth worked harder to exploit them. In the United States, a group of former military officers and civilians came together to form a special task force. This group, led by former General Marcus Hill, was dedicated to preparing humanity's armed forces for the coming war. Their mission was clear: to train Earth's soldiers to be as adaptive and creative as the people who had built the technology to fight back. They couldn't afford to follow traditional military tactics. The Empire was too strong, too well-equipped. Humanity would need to be unpredictable, to fight in ways the Empire had never seen before. Meanwhile, in China, a team of engineers and cyber experts worked to hack into the Empire's mainframe. If they could control even a small part of the Empire's fleet or weapons, it would be a significant advantage. They had to act quickly. Time was running out, and the Empire's fleet hovered ominously above Earth, waiting for a reason to strike. In Africa, communities that had long struggled with resource shortages began using their knowledge of local materials to develop new technologies. Solar-powered energy systems, advanced agricultural techniques, and renewable resources became part of the arsenal humanity was building against the Empire. People who had never considered themselves fighters were now becoming innovators, working in small, isolated teams to create anything they could to contribute to the cause. Though their resources were limited, the strength of humanity lay in its ability to adapt. Unlike the Galactic Empire, whose tactics were based on sheer force and domination, humanity relied on creativity, unity, and persistence. As the weeks passed, the Empire's arrogance began to show. They believed they were unbeatable, that humanity would cower in fear. But they couldn't see the spark of hope growing on Earth. Across the planet, stories of human ingenuity began to spread. The media, once filled with fear and panic, now broadcasted stories of ordinary people coming together to fight back. In every country, small victories were being achieved. Small but significant advances in technology, successful skirmishes against the Empire's forces, and moments of hope that kept the resistance alive. One night, a breakthrough occurred. A young hacker named Leo, working in a small apartment in London, managed to infiltrate the Empire's communication system. It wasn't much, but it was enough. He was able to listen in on their plans, gathering crucial intelligence that could shift the balance of power. Leo sent the data to Sarah and her team, who immediately began working on a way to use this new information to their advantage. As the world rallied behind the resistance, Sarah's team made another discovery. The Empire's fleet was powerful, but it was not invulnerable. They discovered a flaw in the Empire's energy systems, something so simple, yet so crucial that it could turn the tide of the war. A weakness in the shields protecting the ships. With this knowledge, humanity now had a fighting chance. The pieces were coming together. Humanity had started as a group of fearful individuals, uncertain of how to fight back. But through collaboration, innovation, and sheer determination, they had begun to rise as a force that could take on the Galactic Empire. The road ahead would be long and difficult, but one thing was clear: humanity would never back down. The Galactic Empire had made a mistake by challenging Earth, and now humanity was ready to show them just how wrong they were. The first clash. The day of the first battle arrived. The Empire's massive warships, sleek and intimidating, had been hovering over Earth's major cities for weeks, but now they were beginning to make their move. Earth's defenses were far from ready, but the preparation, however small, had given humanity something crucial: hope. The citizens of Earth no longer felt helpless. They weren't alone, and they weren't afraid anymore. They were determined to fight, no matter the odds. The resistance had learned much in the weeks leading up to this moment. Dr. Sarah Owens and her team had perfected a series of new weapons and defense systems, and General Marcus Hill had trained Earth's military to adapt quickly to the new technology. The human forces weren't as well equipped as the Empire, but they were swift, clever, and unyielding. They knew they had only one chance to make a stand. The first clash took place above the Pacific Ocean, far from the prying eyes of the public. A massive fleet of Empire ships descended on Earth, ready to assert their dominance. Their mission was clear: wipe out any resistance and show humanity their place in the galaxy. But humanity wasn't going to let that happen without a fight. The battle began with a sudden attack. Using the knowledge they had gained from hacking into the Empire's communication systems, the resistance launched a surprise assault. They didn't try to take on the full might of the Empire's fleet. Instead, they used guerrilla tactics, hitting fast, retreating before the Empire's forces could respond, and striking again from unexpected angles. The Empire's ships were equipped with the most advanced weaponry humanity had ever seen, but they had underestimated one thing: humans' ability to adapt quickly and think outside the box. The resistance had developed new energy shields that deflected the Empire's laser blasts, and weapons that disrupted the targeting systems of the enemy ships. Every time the Empire tried to retaliate, humanity adapted faster than they could react. In the midst of the chaos, General Marcus Hill led a small team of elite soldiers aboard a fleet of human-made fighters. These were not the most advanced ships, but they were fast, maneuverable, and equipped with newly developed EMP bombs. Their mission was to infiltrate the Empire's fleet and disable their communications. If they could take down the enemy's ability to coordinate, humanity would have a chance to fight back. The mission was risky, but the team was ready. As the human fighters swooped into the heart of the Empire's forces, they launched their EMP bombs at the Empire's flagship. The bomb detonated with a thunderous explosion, disabling the ship's communication systems and temporarily crippling the fleet's coordination. Chaos erupted among the Empire's forces as their commanders scrambled to regain control. The battle was far from over, but for the first time, humanity had gained an upper hand. The Empire's ships began to fall into disarray as their commanders tried to regroup, but the humans were relentless. The fighters and resistance groups launched wave after wave of attacks, using the element of surprise to their advantage. But the Empire was far from defeated. In retaliation, they unleashed a devastating weapon, an energy pulse that could wipe out entire cities. The pulse was aimed directly at Earth's largest population centers. The Resistance had anticipated this move, and at the last moment, activated their new defense systems, shielding major cities from the blast. Though the pulse still caused widespread damage, it wasn't the catastrophic blow the Empire had hoped for. As the first clash ended, the battlefield was a scene of devastation. The human forces had managed to strike a blow against the Empire, but the cost was high. Cities were damaged and lives were lost. Yet the victory, however small, was a turning point. The Empire had underestimated humanity's ability to fight back, and now they realized just how dangerous Earth's inhabitants could be. The Empire's fleet retreated temporarily, nursing their wounds and regrouping. They had suffered unexpected losses and were shaken by the audacity of humanity. The Resistance, on the other hand, was emboldened. The victory, though small, proved that the Empire could be defeated. Humanity wasn't just surviving. They were fighting back. In the aftermath of the battle, Sarah Owens and her team worked tirelessly to refine their weapons and defenses. They knew the Empire would return stronger than ever, but the Resistance was ready. Every victory, no matter how small, was a step closer to defeating the invaders. The first clash was just the beginning. Earth had sent a clear message to the Galactic Empire. They were not afraid, and they would not back down. The battle for Earth was far from over, but humanity had proven they could fight back, and the Empire had learned that underestimating the strength of humanity would be their greatest mistake. The turning point. The initial clash had been a shock to both the Galactic Empire and humanity. While the Empire had expected to crush Earth's resistance swiftly, they had encountered unexpected challenges. The humans were proving to be more than just survivors. They were outsmarting the Empire at every turn. After their first victory, Earth's resistance grew bolder, more coordinated, and determined. The Empire, now aware of humanity's resilience, began to reconsider their strategy. It was time for humanity to strike once again, but this time, it would be different. Sarah Owens and her team had been working relentlessly since the first battle. They understood that Earth's greatest strength was its adaptability, and they were beginning to find ways to exploit the weaknesses in the Empire's technology. The more they learned about the Empire's systems, the clearer it became that the Empire was not as invulnerable as they had thought. In a moment of brilliance, Sarah's team uncovered a crucial flaw in the Empire's energy shield technology. The shields, while strong, were based on a single point of failure, an energy conduit that powered them. If they could pinpoint this vulnerability, they could disable the shields entirely and give Earth's forces a fighting chance. But it was no easy task. The Empire had placed its shields on the most heavily guarded ships, and the risk of failure was high. As Earth's forces continued to regroup, General Marcus Hill and his task force planned their next move. They knew the Empire would not sit idly by while their ships were vulnerable. They had to act fast. The Empire had been forced into a retreat after the first battle, but now they would regroup and come back stronger. The human resistance needed a decisive advantage. A small team of scientists and military experts worked together to develop a new type of weapon, an advanced EMP device capable of targeting and disabling the Empire's energy conduits. This was the breakthrough humanity had been waiting for. The device, when deployed correctly, could cripple the Empire's fleet and provide Earth with a much-needed victory. But there was one major obstacle: getting close enough to deploy it. The plan was dangerous. The Empire would have no mercy if they discovered what the humans were planning. But General Hill, Sarah Owens, and the rest of the resistance forces knew that this could be the turning point. The risk was great, but the reward was even greater. They would either take down the Empire's shield systems or face utter annihilation. The Resistance organized a covert mission. A small strike team would infiltrate the Empire's flagship fleet, which was now stationed just outside Earth's orbit. Using their newly developed stealth technology, the team would slip past the Empire's defenses, place the EMP devices on the key ships, and retreat before the Empire could respond. It was a desperate mission, but it was humanity's best shot at winning. The night before the mission, Sarah Owens stood alone, gazing at the stars. The weight of what was about to happen was heavy on her shoulders. The plan was risky, and many lives would be at stake. But she knew that humanity could not afford to fail. The hope for Earth's survival rested on their ability to outsmart the Empire once again. The team launched their mission under the cover of darkness, their stealth ships gliding quietly through space. As they approached the Empire's fleet, the tension was palpable. Every moment felt like an eternity. The mission was already dangerous, but the Empire's defense systems were unlike anything humanity had encountered before. If they were caught, the consequences would be devastating. The Resistance fighters worked quickly, planting EMP devices on the flagship's critical energy conduits. The minutes felt like hours, and the Empire's guards were growing suspicious. Suddenly, alarms blared, signaling that the Empire had detected the breach. It was too late to turn back now. The EMP devices were armed, and there was no way to escape undetected. The team had to rely on their training and trust in each other to get out alive. As the countdown ticked down, the tension reached its peak. The EMP devices activated, sending waves of energy that disabled the Empire's energy shields. One by one, the once impenetrable shields fell. The Empire's flagship fleet, now exposed and vulnerable, was left defenseless. The Resistance fighters had succeeded. In that moment, Sarah Owens watched from the command center, her heart racing. The first major victory in humanity's fight against the Empire had been won. The Empire's ships, now vulnerable, were no longer the unstoppable force they had once been. Humanity had found a crack in their armor, and now it was time to strike. But even as victory seemed within reach, Sarah knew this was just the beginning. The battle was far from over, and the Empire would not go down without a fight. They would regroup, adapt, and retaliate. But for now, humanity had taken a huge step forward. The turning point had arrived. The Empire had learned that humanity was not just capable of fighting back, they were capable of winning. And now, Earth's resistance had a fighting chance. The final push. After the successful mission to disable the Empire's shields, the resistance was stronger than ever. The fight for Earth had reached a pivotal moment, and now, with the Empire's fleet exposed, humanity had an opportunity to strike with everything they had. But even though they had gained a crucial advantage, the stakes were higher than ever. The Galactic Empire would not let their most powerful fleet fall without a devastating response. The final push was about to begin. Sarah Owens and General Marcus Hill, along with the leadership of Earth's resistance, gathered in a war room deep underground, away from the Empire's watchful eyes. The mood was tense, but there was also a shared sense of determination. They had been fighting for months, always on the back foot, but now they had the chance to take control of the situation. This was their moment to deliver a crushing blow to the Empire. The Resistance had learned everything they could about the Empire's remaining fleet. They knew the Empire would be vulnerable without their shields, but they were also aware that the Empire's counterattack would be swift and ruthless. The strategy was clear. Earth would need to use its remaining resources, technology, and every last ounce of creativity to strike fast, hard, and relentlessly. The plan involved a large-scale assault, while General Hill led the charge on the ground, with Earth's military forces striking key installations and Empire strongholds. Sarah and her team would take to space once more. Their mission was to infiltrate the heart of the Empire's fleet, its command center, and dismantle it once and for all. The Empire's leaders, including the Emperor himself, were aboard the largest ship in the fleet, and that ship needed to be destroyed or captured to deal a final blow to the invaders. The Resistance fighters, having successfully taken down the Empire's shields, now had the tools they needed to infiltrate enemy territory. They would use the chaos of the Empire's confusion to their advantage. With the Empire's ships scattered and unable to coordinate, the human fighters had a chance to break through and launch a direct assault on the command ship. The human fleet was smaller, not as advanced, and significantly outnumbered by the Empire's forces. But they had something the Empire didn't: unity and the will to fight for their homes, families, and future. Humanity had learned to use their strengths, their creativity, and the power of unexpected tactics to outsmart the Empire. And now, they would need to give it their all in this final confrontation. The assault began at dawn, Earth's time. The human fighters raced through space, moving at top speed to avoid detection. Their goal was simple: infiltrate the Empire's command ship, disable its systems, and allow the human forces to launch a full-scale assault on the remaining Empire fleet. It was a dangerous mission, and the cost of failure was high, but the stakes couldn't have been higher. If they succeeded, humanity would finally be free from the Empire's grasp. As the first wave of human fighters approached the Empire's flagship, the tension was unbearable. The pilots, some veterans of previous battles, others fresh recruits, knew they were part of something far bigger than themselves. They weren't just fighting for survival, they were fighting for the future of all mankind. The pressure was immense, but they had one thing on their side: the element of surprise. The human ships dove into the fray, using their newfound knowledge of the Empire's technology to disable key weapon systems and neutralize the flagship's defenses. The Empire's commanders tried to regroup, but it was too late. The human fighters pressed on, slowly making their way toward the Emperor's ship. Every move was calculated, every shot fired with precision. The Empire was losing control. Back on Earth, General Hill's forces stormed the Empire's surface bases, hitting them with everything they had. Ground troops, backed by civilians and engineers, launched surprise attacks on Empire outposts and key infrastructure. With the Empire's leadership distracted and their forces in disarray, Earth's forces began to make gains. It wasn't just a military victory. It was a victory for humanity itself. The Empire's arrogance had cost them dearly, and now the tables had turned. As Sarah's team approached the Emperor's flagship, they activated the EMP devices they had perfected earlier. The devices caused massive disruptions in the flagship's systems, disabling critical functions and opening the door for the final strike. The resistance fighters inside the flagship fought their way through corridors, facing fierce Empire soldiers at every turn. But with every step, they grew closer to their ultimate goal. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity of fighting, Sarah and her team reached the heart of the flagship, where the Emperor himself was waiting. The room was vast and cold, filled with the hum of alien technology. The Emperor, surrounded by his most trusted officers, looked down at them, his face twisted in fury. He had underestimated humanity, and now it was too late to change his fate. The final confrontation between Sarah and the Emperor was intense, but it was not just about physical strength. It was about survival, about the belief that humanity would never give up, no matter how overwhelming the odds. With one final strike, Sarah disabled the Emperor's personal shield, allowing the resistance fighters to take control of the command center. The Empire was defeated. Outside, the human forces launched their final assault on the remaining fleet. With the Empire's leadership eliminated and their fleet crippled, Earth's forces pushed forward, sending the invaders into full retreat. The war was won. Humanity had done the impossible. Against all odds, they had defeated the Galactic Empire, not with superior strength or overwhelming numbers, but with the strength of their will, their unity, and their unrelenting fight for survival. The battle was over, but the war for humanity's future was just beginning. The triumph of humanity. The Galactic Empire, once a symbol of invincibility and fear across the galaxy, was now crumbling. Its mighty fleet had been shattered, its leadership dismantled, and its grip on Earth utterly broken. The battle was over, but the consequences of this victory were just beginning to unfold. Humanity had fought against impossible odds and emerged victorious. forever changing the course of history. As Earth's skies cleared and the last remnants of the Empire's forces retreated into the depths of space, the world stood in stunned silence. The realization of what had just been achieved was slow to sink in. Earth had not just survived. It had defeated one of the most powerful forces the universe had ever known. In that moment, humanity had proven its strength, its ingenuity, and its unwavering will to survive. General Marcus Hill stood on the balcony of a war command center in a newly liberated city, watching the horizon. The sun was beginning to rise, casting a warm glow over the planet that had been through so much. The once threatening ships of the Empire were now just wreckage in the sky, their once mighty hulls drifting aimlessly, no longer a symbol of fear, but a reminder of humanity's triumph. "We did it," said Hill quietly, as he gazed out over the city. He had led Earth's military, but it had been the collective strength of the world's people that had won the war. People from every country, every continent, had joined forces to fight back against an enemy that had once seemed unbeatable. It had been humanity's unity, creativity, and refusal to accept defeat that had turned the tide. Sarah Owens stood in the control room, looking at the holographic map of Earth and its surrounding space. The Empire had been pushed back, but there was still work to be done. Despite the victory, the damage caused by the war was vast. Cities had been destroyed, millions had lost their lives, and the global infrastructure was in ruins. The path to recovery would be long, but Sarah knew that humanity had the tools to rebuild. They had always been survivors. The war had proved that. "This is only the beginning," Sarah said to her team, who were gathered around her, looking exhausted but triumphant. "We've won this battle, but the real work starts now. We need to rebuild, to make sure we never face something like this again." Across the globe, leaders from every nation began meeting to rebuild what had been lost. The human race had united against the Empire, and now it would unite again to restore Earth to its former glory. Nations worked together to repair cities, rebuild homes, and heal the wounds left by the war. But it was not just the physical rebuilding that would take time. The emotional scars of the war would take longer to heal, but the shared sense of victory would serve as a reminder that humanity could overcome anything, no matter how dark the days seemed. As humanity began to rebuild, there were whispers of what the future might hold. Earth had made its mark on the galaxy. The Empire was no more, and the universe was forever changed by the resilience and strength of the human spirit. Other civilizations, once indifferent to Earth, now looked at humanity with newfound respect. They had defeated an empire that had conquered countless worlds, and now they would have to reckon with Earth. Earth's leaders, with a new sense of unity, decided to take the first steps in reaching out to other civilizations. They were no longer the weak, insignificant species the Empire had thought them to be. Humanity had proven that they could rise to any challenge, and they would not shy away from future threats. The galaxy now knew that Earth was a force to be reckoned with. But perhaps the most significant change was not in the technology or the systems that had been developed during the war. It was in humanity's mindset. The war had taught them something vital, that they were stronger together than they had ever realized. People from all walks of life had fought side by side, using their talents, their knowledge, and their determination to overcome an enemy that was far stronger and more advanced. And in doing so, they had created a new kind of world, a world where unity, resilience, and courage could overcome any obstacle. Sarah stood with General Hill as they looked out over the planet that they had saved. There was still so much to be done, but the seeds of a new era had been planted. The Empire's threat was over, but humanity's true story had only just begun. They had learned that no matter how powerful the enemy, no matter how overwhelming the odds, humanity would always find a way to survive. The victory over the Galactic Empire was not just a battle won. It was a testament to the strength of the human spirit. And as the sun rose over Earth, humanity looked forward to the future, knowing that no matter what came next, they would face it together.